Hello, and welcome back to City Planner Plays, where we are building the City of Ashland in Clearwater County. And today we are going to focus on creating a sense of place in Ashland. So we are going to be creating plazas and unique streets and different places that make the city feel unique. In addition, we are going to fix a number of issues that have been kind of plaguing the city for a while, including this mansion. In the previous episode, I had some issues, and as a result, I threw up a stopgap solution that, truthfully, I think we all know is not the best solution that I could have come up with. So today, we're going to come up with a better solution. I know that not everyone wants to see this, so I'm going to give you a brief reveal right now. And if you don't want to watch this part, skip ahead in the timestamp. But if you do want to, I'm going to time-lapse most of it, so you can kind of get on with it, because I'm guessing you don't want to watch me build a mansion over and over and over and over. Okay, here goes. Okay, so we've had a bit of a marathon here, but we've done some things that I think are really great. Yeah, and some that are maybe not so great, but I'll take it. So what we've done here is tried to create an atmosphere that is more befitting of this space. So what we've done, yeah, I don't love that either. So what we've done is we've added this. Here we have a small key wall where we have some seating, kind of cleaned things up, got rid of the excess lighting, reoriented the garages. One of the comments I saw said that these garages are normally facing the house so people can admire their beautiful cars. Fair enough. And, oh, we lost our house over here. Okay, that's not good. All right, got our house back. So we one of the things that I did was tried to make sure that the house is still working. So I did it again. Okay, so it shouldn't ruin now because it's zoned, and should be better, hopefully. We got that fixed. So it looks like we have a light in the middle of the road here. So we'll move that. Then we also put in a little garden here and a beach to try to give some privacy. Now, one of the things that maybe I didn't do is get a job at is extend this out. These are very wealthy individuals who would obviously want some privacy. They have it everywhere but there. And then I've added this fountain and some walking paths to enjoy this garden up front. That gives quite a bit of privacy. So I think these are some good improvements. One thing we could take a look at, at night. You can see the lighting is a ton more rational now. So rather than having, really just tons of light, just what we need. Just what we need, no more, no less. And I think it's looking pretty slick. So that's not where we wanted to end. That's it's unfortunate that that's where we began, but I needed to finish this, and now I'm a lot happier with how it turned out. Just needed some refinement around the edges. Speaking of refinement around the edges, wow, this is the first time that our dealership hasn't gone under. In fact, it's looking pretty successful. That said, someone pointed something out that I think is going to continue to plague this building for a long time, and that is that the front of the building doesn't have road access as I have it currently configured. So we're going to add that access. And we're going to clean up some of our surface painter stuff too. And I'm kind of wondering, I'm not in love with what I did here with all the gravel. I think it's very messy. So what I think we're going to do is clean this up a little bit. So now that we have this great concrete prop, I don't know why we wouldn't use it all over the place, particularly in areas like this, where a little cleanup goes a long ways. kind of just leave it like this. I think that this is a good improvement in this area. It gives a cleaner space to this. There's a lot of hardscape. This would never fly in a city, but in the country, you can get away with more things. So we're gonna let them. Next thing, I received a lot of comments in the Discord server about these power plants. So what I was told is that this is only part of a power plant, and that's no good. So I agree, it's no good in its current configuration. But I'm gonna take a step back. I've been trying to empty this forever. Whenever I start, it is not going. So I'm gonna get that back. All right, back to this. So this is not a power plant. And one thing I love about the Discord servers, rather than just saying I have a problem, a lot of people in there say I've got a solution too. So, and that's the same thing in the YouTube comments. You guys are so great about that, and I really appreciate that. So a coal power plant was mentioned as a potential solution. So we've got this vanilla one, or we've got this really slick power plant from from the store, or from the Steam Workshop rather. And this to me looks amazing. Now I'm seeing that this is retaining my sandbox settings. I added a mod. It's the Bob mod. So Alt B, and you get your Bob menu, and you're able to go in here and actually turn some things off. So I turned off the parking spaces. So I want to revert this just to show you what I did, because I didn't mean to actually get rid of them. So with the parking, with this in its default settings, I revert it back to normal. You can see that these parking spaces come back to life. And in fact, I'm going to set this building. I'll use move it, and I'll reset objects. So what that's going to do is hopefully spawn some vehicles here. So I don't want vehicles to spawn here because I think that this building needs a parking lot. So what I was doing was I went through here, I just grabbed parking spaces, took the probability, brought it down to 0, and this is actually where you're seeing the issue. Right now when I come up to this, now I've returned it back to its default settings. So I brought the probability all the way down to 0, and then I applied it to these buildings, and I did that for both of them. And that eliminated all of the parking here. So to me, that's a great improvement. You can do the same thing with things such as, honestly anything. I could get rid of this light. If there were trees that were part of this asset, I could eliminate those. It's such a powerful mod. I would highly recommend you check it out. Now I'm putting this in place while everything else is still here for one specific reason. When I was sandboxing this, if I added this before I got water to it, there was no way to power the water. And because I couldn't power the water, or because I couldn't get water here, because the water didn't have power, kind of ended up in this vicious cycle. But now that this has water, I can now eliminate these, and the city won't die. So, although I probably should get power lines to this thing. Whoops, jumpy. Okay, I just wanted to clean up those power lines a little bit. There was some weird stuff happening. So this to me is a lot cleaner of a setup. We're going to build a parking lot here because obviously this building would need some sort of parking facility associated with it. So first things first, I wanted to extend this road over here, this country rural road, and then we will go through and build out our parking lot. So we always start with our drive aisle. We'll go 2 tiles in. Now that I think about it, I also need some sort of service lane over here. So I'm gonna get to that first before I forget. Okay, I wanted this in here because we are gonna change our settings after the fact to make this look a little bit more realistic in terms of where things are loading. So after we get our drive aisle, we need to do our borders. I'm just gonna extend these out quite a ways for the time being. We will get that cleaned up after the fact. Removing some trees through here to keep things clean, and then I'm going to use my filler. Now remember, got to keep one tile gap so that we can place our parking stalls, and I don't want to overdo it, so I think what I'm going to do is let's do a couple rows, end it here. I'm wondering if I used the wrong border piece. There we go. We will put some accessible parking close to the front, and then we're going to load this puppy up. And you can imagine that an operation this large would have a lot of employees. So the parking requirements would probably be fairly steep for a building like this. I was noticing some wonky stuff, so I just wanted to make sure that the entire facility was leveled. Probably should have graded beforehand, but didn't, so we make do. That's why we have mods, right? That's why I really enjoy this build. I love Verde Beach, but man, oh man, the power I feel, just unlimited power to do whatever I want to do. It's pretty spectacular. There we go. So this is pretty unsafe. You go off there, you go off. So we're gonna have some sort of rail to protect people. So I do not currently have the greatest fence for this. What I might do is just use a fence asset down here, and hopefully that will at least allow me to, come up with something that looks okay. Yeah, I don't love this as the solution. And I can't even curve these fences, so I might just use some landscaping as a means of protecting the city or starting fires. One of the two. One of the two. And then to finish up, I'm just using our concrete ploppable to make sure that everything looks as clean as it can. Look at that. That is looking good. That is looking pretty darn good. I might even use it over here. It's a little funky, but I think the way it looks a little bit better. Nice and clean. So the last thing I want to do is I want to go into here, and if you go and click, if you have building spawn points installed, when you click on a building, you actually get this menu right here, and you can see that right now everything's spawning to the front of the building, and I think that the back is going to be more appropriate for almost every single building, or almost every single vehicle. I don't really know what you do here. This kind of looks like the back to me, truthfully. So I'm going to just move these. And then we'll rotate that around, and that's why we have this road here. So now, hopefully all of these vehicles will just show up right back. Oh, or I will delete it. Okay, now we're good. Anarchy off. Look at that. Look, oh, it just spawned from the building. So I kind of failed. Maybe. You know what? It's okay. I'm gonna take it. Go Nuts Donuts is the billboard there. Maybe this is actually a better spot. Let's do a little bit more. Okay, so I have two different spawn points. The first one is for just garbage and cargo, and they'll come over here, and the other one will come to the front of the building. So I'm much more pleased with that. I think this power plant is much more believable, and when you look at our power output, it is, the other ones were 40 each, and this is significantly better. So we're gonna take that, and then we're gonna use our better bulldozer and get rid of trees, props, and buildings, but not nodes. Then we have a little bit of brush cleanup as well. One more prop and we're home free. Looking good. Keep walking on the side of the road. Who is this? What are you doing? Emma Clark. You reside at the Primrose residence. You're an educated senior. You're unemployed, and you're going to go buy a tractor. Okay, and where do you live? Whoa, you walked from here? You walked really to go look at a tractor. All right. I guess whatever makes you happy, Emma. Is that the same person we looked at before? She just gotten a lot older. Well, whatever. So this is the solution out here, and I love it. I think that this, when we're looking, that looks legitimate. And, I think it's a lot more logical. And this is big enough that hopefully it can power the city that we're going to create after this one. So, up next, we have crime. We have broken tram routes. We have a courthouse full of garbage and issues. And I think that this courthouse is lots of issues. And I think I didn't think it out. So we're going to call the Mulligan here. This is one of the things that I like about the game is I can call mulligans. And I can call many of them. And I'm going to call all of them right now. So I don't like this route that I put together. And I'm thinking that it would be a lot more reasonable to have a route that would kind of come like this. Now I'm going to pause this because I'm going to do some things. I'm going to do lots of things that are going to potentially cause issues here. So what I've done here is tried to create a tram route that allows us to go in both directions. I don't have it set up correctly. There we go. So now the tram is a one-way loop, but cars can go down both ways, and that is what we were hoping for. So here we're going to eliminate all of the zoning because we're going to do something special here, and we're obviously not going to zone around there. That's crazy. So what I'm thinking is we have an opportunity in this area. We don't really have a commercial hub here, but this could be it. We also could use some more city services, and it would make sense to consolidate those. So what we're going to do is create some parking in this area because that's something that we don't have. So this will be the parking mega episode, I suppose, as we create parking in these areas. Now, we learned something about these tram roads. If I were to go here and take my drive aisle and put it right off here, we get that. And that's not what we want. And that's because the parking lot drive aisles are tram roads. So we're going to back this off just a scotch. And then we are going to use our borders here to create the border of our parking area. I think, again, I'm using this one that I don't like. So I'm going back and changing it. The one that has the grass, I don't love it. So I'm going to add a couple of aisles here. Okay, so now we've got that all sorted out. And what we're going to do now is fix some of our problems with this lot. One of our problems is that it's a cul-de-sac. We don't want that. We're also going to want to have another outlet, kind of keep this the city's best kept secret as far as parking goes. So now we have this lot here. It'll do a number of things. And you might be looking at this right now thinking, I don't know what you're up to. I get it. It's going to get better, I promise. Not like this, though. But clearly, this is not right. Now, this is retrofit parking. It has been brought in after all of these buildings were made. The city saw it as a valuable thing. I would look at this as the most likely land to be redeveloped in the future. But for the time being, it will exist to serve the parking needs of this little urban area. So we're going to move this over. I want to eliminate this as well. Let's pull this up. Now, I got to use the clipping tool to clean this up and up. It's still a little bit ugly, but let's get this moved a little bit further. Okay, so it's getting some of those weird issues because we had our nodes too close together. So if you ever see that where it's kind of funky looking, that's what it is. Your nodes are too close. But pretty easy to fix. So our concrete, again, will be super helpful. And you can see that it's almost perfect, but not quite. It's just not wide enough. All right, no big deal. We'll just add one more. And then again, I'm going to eliminate this because I want this to be perfectly straight. And there's a reason why. So now I'm going to take my zoning off from here. So if I go into my zoning adjuster, I just right mouse click these roads I don't want zoning on, and it just takes it away. And that just cleans everything up around here because that'll force the game to focus the zoning in areas where it is logical and makes sense. Okay, so you might be wondering, what am I doing here? What is all of this madness? And what I'm thinking is we're going to have a big concrete plaza. So we're going to have a lot of hardscape today. We're just going to keep doing it. But we're gonna have this to kind of be a planned hardscape area. So I don't know how much of this is salvageable. In fact, I was thinking of salvaging it, but at this point, whoop, that was not what I meant to do. What I meant to do was do this. Highlight all that, and gone. All right, so we will deal with this a little bit more in a second. What I want to do is turn this into a park space. Actually, we're not going to. We're just going to leave it as is and just enjoy some of the things that we add in this area. And I'm thinking that we could go into these props that come with the game and add a few things to liven this up. I always love adding this rider statue. I think it's really, it feels like the kind of thing you'd see in front of a courthouse. I'd also imagine you would see something like a kiosk out here, street side, pick my newspaper. Might be a couple of pavilions to frame the space. And then we'll clearly have benches and, things of that nature, but we'll get there in just a second. So I think that one of the problems you can get into using Find It, or the Finder, Find It 2.62, is you can get so used to it that you forget where things are. And that's clearly where I am in some cases now. So I actually want this to be really straight, so what I might do is just go in here, add these, and I don't want them to be like that. That's a little extreme. So what I'll do, so I've still got my anarchy on. I'm gonna space this. We have the intervals. Let's increase this so you can add this. Let's add 10. Yeah, and I'm not loving what it's doing, or what I'm doing. So I might start out, maybe I'll do some planter boxes. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is frame the space and provide some sort of vista. At the same time, I want to be aware of how these are situated, make sure that they mirror one another, and also frame the space. So I'm trying to use good urban design techniques. Now, I'm not an urban designer by any means, but I did take a couple classes, so I know enough to speak the language and perhaps not enough to be good at it. If I could go back in time and change anything, it might have been that I would have considered being an urban designer. It's a very, very fascinating career. It's really thinking about the built environment and how people operate within it. It's kind of I think of it as architecture, but for the outdoor environment. So part of what that means is thinking about the way that people use an outdoor space. And generally, people do not like being in wide open spaces. They like to be on the edges of a space. So you can see this in huge plazas. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter if you're in the US, you're in South America, you're in Europe. People congregate around the outsides of spaces. It feels more intimate, and it feels less, honestly, intrusive. Okay, so we need to add a couple of other props, benches, things of that nature. So I think we're going to have a chess table over here, some benches along the outside so people could sit and not feel like they are being exposed. And providing some different opportunities for people. Do you want to sit in the sun? Do you want to be in the shade? Got it all. A sign to announce this place, some lights to make sure that you can use the space at night. Truthfully, why don't we go into our night mode just to see how things look? We don't want to overlight it and make it feel intense, but at the same time, we don't want it so dark that people don't feel like they can be here. I think that feels very good. Need some light by the courthouse, though. Much better. Now, to me, this feels like an inviting space, the kind of place you'd want to go. And one thing that we're not seeing now is activation of the space. And part of the reason for that is we don't have paths through here. So I picked up an asset that is into this episode's pack. So there's a couple that I have. I have invisible roads and I also have invisible paths. So this will give me the ability to snake some paths through here so people will actually use this space. Okay, now hopefully this works. Bring it back to a reasonable time of day, and we should see people start to walk through this space. Not going to get overly concerned about it right now, but something to keep an eye on as we're doing this. So we're creating this area. I'm not sure why I couldn't find this one, but I picked up this cobblestone road that I thought would really work well in areas surrounding the courthouse. So what we're going to do is try to create a sense of place here as well, and we're going to do that by using some urban design features that really aren't present anywhere else in the community. So that's going to be a mixture of these cobblestone roads, which kind of have bizarre looking crosswalks. It's because I'm hiding everything. There we go. So we can't use this everywhere because we have this over here, but we can certainly use it in a number of places. We're going to want to look at our zoning and clean this up, clean up our spacing so we can get our maximum density. Looks like this might be it for us. Unless, of course, we look at our block lengths and redo this. And that might be part of our problem, is we're not able to get the maximum density because our blocks are not a logical number of units across. This isn't perfect, but you can at least see that it's a lot better. When I remove the zoning from the roads that aren't supposed to have it, things improve. So that's pretty darn good. And we're going to have commercial activity back here. And I've got my anarchy on, and I think I have it on in 2 different ways. So let me go and make sure that that's off because I don't want that happening. Special anarchy. All right, so we're in a good spot here, I think. And I want to do a couple of things over here that will continue to make this feel like a special place. First, I want to extend this road over here. So we're going to take out one mansion, eminent domain. Thank you for your property, and I apologize for the inconvenience. I should have been using my planning roads. That's, if there's anything I take away from that, it's that I have the planning roads for a reason, and for some reason I'm not using them. So I need to get better about that. Also going to get rid of this road bending because I want some interesting blocks, but not that interesting. There we go. So this is what I was hoping for, and you're going to see why in just a second. We're going to do something really special here. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to make this place feel totally different than some other parts of the city. Let's get rid of that zoning there, though, because we don't want to have buildings popping up on this little shore here. Okay, so what we're going to do here, obviously we need to get utilities and fix those. Those are not under the road. They don't belong there. All right, so we are all utilitied up, and we're going to have some commercial activity in this area. And we'll continue with our residential on the other side, including over here, but again, commercial right here. Now, we're going to have some really unique blocks right here, and wow, that's a lot of lights. That seems like we're going a little overboard. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just going crazy. Okay, anyway, I will ignore the lights. Maybe I'm just seeing things. What I want to do is create a really special street. And one of the things that I've really liked is there are some cities that use umbrellas to decorate streets, to provide some shade, so you can have some cafe seating, or just create a place that is really kind of a destination that tourists would want to see. So I found this really neat asset, Umbrella BPIP. It's inexpensive. There's a rainbow one, and then there is this other one that's just kind of a variety of colors. And you can use prop line tool. And as I turn this thing off, wouldn't you know, I need it again. So we'll get those right there. Then we'll go into here. We'll make sure that we don't select our nodes or our buildings, decals, segments, really anything besides props. And then what I want to do is move these over. I want to make sure that they're straight. And then we're just going to mirror these a couple of times. Now I need some buildings over here for the effect to take form. So what I think I might do is just go ahead and turn off zoning right here. So we get our maximum density buildings over here, because I really, really want this to work out. And the effect that I want it to have is I want it to feel like these are hanging over the road, and it's a street that you want to walk down because there's something neat going on here. So I've seen this in cities here in Wisconsin. Man, oh man, does it look neat. It is really, it really makes the place stand out. Makes it feel like a true destination. And truthfully, so we're not going to get density back here, but one thing that we could do is have some sort of path through here, which I think would be a really neat amenity as well. Some sort of cut through to get to the other blocks and really cement this as a pedestrian destination and a walkable place. So that is what we're doing. We're going to save this tree too. Save the trees. There we go. I love the way that this turned out. I think that it's neat, and I think that if we speed this up just a little bit and let it build out, it's going to be really slick looking. And it'll be slick looking as long as I don't destroy it by having trees pop through everything. So I'm going to make sure that I'm in a good spot with this. Here we go. Now, there are people walking through here, and boy, oh boy, would this feel like a special place. Now, I know that there are going to be some places where we don't get development. I might fudge this a little bit. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I perhaps went a little more rogue than I normally do, but I really wanted this to build out in a really grand way. So I think that this is going to do the trick. Also thinking, let's mirror these path connections. Maybe not mirror the paths themselves, but that we have them in general. Now this is going to be a very, very special street. You can tell it's just the kind of place that you want to go to and you want to check out. It'd be so cool. I like that a lot. So, I know it's probably a weird thing to get jazzed about, but I think it's neat. So I'm gonna go with it, and I'm gonna feel good about it. There we go. This is complete. I love it. Oh, that's so cool. This feels more befitting of what you expect to see in this area. I mean, this is a very important part of the community, and not seeing anything happening here is just kind of obscene. So we've got things happening now. Now, I wanted to do something with this space. We have a parking lot. There's not a lot you can do back here, but I've got an idea, and that idea is community gardens. So I picked up some assets for this as well. But first, I want to get some trails out there, so let's go through here. We're just going to throw in some dirt trails. Okay, little urban garden. Let's make this so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going through here, and I'm just adding rows of these. And I'm going to add a couple, I think. And this will be a community garden where people in the community could come and for absolutely free take advantage of this wonderful community amenity. Even if you live in the urban area, you have the opportunity to experience Ashland for what it's known for, which is agriculture. Now it doesn't like this. It tells me it has to be on a park side, and that's fine. This is probably good enough. We can get a couple more trees over here. We'll make sure that we're blocking the wind that you'd expect to have coming from the shore here, because you wouldn't want your garden to experience all that wind. I like that. I like that. Oh, we get campuses. That's so awesome. We get level 5 unique buildings, trade school, IT cluster, leisure, a bunch of tax policies, Industry 4.0, which I don't know if that's going to come in handy. Maybe. And then we get high density zoning, which is awesome. We might want to use that high office zones now finally, and a number of other emergency disaster response buildings. So very exciting stuff. And we're going to do absolutely nothing with that today. So if I'm disappointing you by saying that, I'm very sorry. But that'll come at a later date. Ashland is just not a dense urban environment. There we go. Oh, this is such a cool area. All right, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it because I know I'm starting to dwell on it, and that's probably not what I should be doing at this point. All right, so our city's still continuing to grow and fill in this area, and it's doing well, but we could do better. So we have this bulb. I would love to get something here. I'm thinking that it might just be better to eliminate that for the time being. Maybe we'll stretch this out. It's kind of doing some weird stuff now, so I'm going to go through and fix this up myself. Yeah, and that's much cleaner. And we'll get some proper density over here, which is what we're looking for. We're going to do this weird eyebrow thing. And not necessarily eyebrow thing, but it's similar to an eyebrow. Okay, so we'll leave that be because the next thing we're going to focus on, we're going to call a mulligan on this house that's kind of just sitting there. I don't know why that's there. We're going to work on this in just a second. I want to come over here and focus on our small church plaza. Now this one I want to be a park. So we're going to use our invisible park gate. We'll put that right in the center, and then we're going to paint our park area. So I've got a really neat idea for this space that I think you're going to like. Or I'm wrong, and you'll hate it. And I'll just have to say I'm sorry. So I'm going to paint this area. Everyone already likes that. All you got to do is paint the park area, and everyone thinks it's great. So we've got this park area, and I picked up a really cool asset. So it's this shell amphitheater. But you can see that there's a problem. First of all, it's too big. So we're going to throw on anarchy. And another problem, that is, I can't place it in the right direction. I want this to face the church. But I've got that covered. So what we're going to do here is we're going to find our invisible road. And I picked this up for a reason, and this was the reason. So if I connect this, it does some wonky stuff here. So I don't want to connect it to anything, but I can let it float here. And then find my shell amphitheater, connect it up. And you can see it's a little too big, but I think we can make it work. So we'll do that by sinking it down a little bit and then adjusting it. So we'll get it just below the roads, and then we'll adjust it so that it fits well. And then we will use our concrete, which is clearly just the most important asset in my set at this point. There we go. So I want to use some pads here as well, and we're going to use our city park pads. We'll just bring this up to our road. We've got our anarchy on. We'll connect over. So I don't love that there are all of those decorations there again, so we're going to search for our path. And we can go through and do, I think it's city park. Gotta make sure vanilla's on there. There it is, propless. We'll upgrade these. I want to go through and get the rest of our concrete where it should be. Oh yeah, that's the ticket right there. Well, actually it's not. So we're kind of mucking everything up, making it look weird, so we're going to use this. There we go. So this won't be the most elaborate park, but I think we can do a couple of things to make it look a little bit nicer. So maybe some fencing along the sides and then some landscaping. So I'd imagine this being a place where you could have, you could even have some of these church services maybe, but the real reason this is here is theaters. It gives these businesses an opportunity to say, take your meal, go out, watch the concert, check it out. Or if we have any chairs that we put out here. We definitely don't want that. We don't want a chair circle. So these are facing in the wrong direction. They're way too close. So we're going to increase our spacing. And then we can change our angle over here. 45 is not enough. 90 is not enough. 180. Clearly not right. There we go. That's what we're looking for. No, that is not what we're looking for. I guess I got a little excited there for no reason because that wasn't right. It's okay. It'll be easy to turn around now that we're in Move It. Now, truthfully, I don't love that I'm using the city park path here. I kind of want to downgrade this. That entryway is going to look weird though. So we're going to need to find a way to deal with the wonkiness. Yeah, that looks significantly better. So we'll just go with it. We'll have some more leafies. Let's get rid of that anarchy before I forget about it. Get rid of all the anarchy. Just kidding. We'll keep some on. We're going to go back through here and continue to play with our tool until we get this just right. So I want a sense of order in this space, but I don't want the foliage to overwhelm the space. This is not a very large space. I also don't want it to underwhelm. So truthfully, the regular street trees might do just fine here, but we want a distance that makes some sense for them. And I think it kind of needs to be just a shade bigger. Yeah, this looks about right to me, but we need to increase the spacing, again, to make sure that the trees are not overwhelming the space. I don't know that there's anything I can do to make that little bit look better right there. Oh, we're going to try, though. Oh, and it's not as powerful as that set. Shoot. So I was hoping that it would let me just kind of go and choose it. It still looks nicer there than what was there, but we might have to use our imagination to not have that there. Or to not, because we're not going to get that fixed. I might need to look for another asset to make that look a little bit better. Truthfully though, we've figured out a way to make this look clean. So we're going to take that. That's a good opportunity. We'll line that with flowers. I think that looks just outstanding. And then I think I want to throw a couple of small things in there. Just to, again, create a sense of place in here. Some visual interest, a reason to walk through. And I love this. We're going to name this Church Park. That is awesome. I love this. This turned out really good. And I think that you get this visual from the church straight here to the Shell Amphitheater. Now, the one thing that we didn't think about is the poor, sad homes looking at this in the rear. And we're going to think about them. We can't just leave this like that. I would be very sad if I were them. They used to have this awesome view of the church. Now they have an awesome view of the back of this. Okay, so this might not be perfect, but it's something a little better. And it's clearly not perfect. We're clipping through. There, it's a very tight sidewalk now, but it at least creates a sense of place back here as well. I think it benches something to liven this up to make it seem like it's not just an unplanned back of a building, which it clearly is. But I think these would be the kinds of things that, in a plan for this, that a planner would point out. What is going on back there? How do we make that feel more like a place? How do we make it feel safe? And the way that we're going to make it feel safe is to get eyes back here. We're going to get people coming back here to do things. And I think we've been able to do that now. And we're able to clip through. Julie Gray, I'm sorry. Unemployed, uneducated senior. going to the Daffodil residence. Not too far. Not too far. She has a very nice place to live next to now. So I'm interested. The entertainment, pretty good. Pretty good. Let's take the price of this down to nothing. This will be a free amphitheater. We'll have some live shows every Friday or something like that. It'll be something that everyone in the community knows about, everyone loves. So, funny story, I went ahead and recorded the rest of the episode and it crashed at the very end. So, one thing that I realized through that is that it's going to take a lot longer to finish everything I want to accomplish than I'd originally intended. So, I'm going to take things down, and I have 2 builds left I want to finish in Ashland before we leave the community. One is this park over here, and the other is the beach. I think that today we're going to choose this park over here because I'm really excited to finish this area up. So first, I do want to kind of take a look at some of the zoning things happening over here. All right, we're going to fill in at some point, but it's going to be a little while. All of that said, man, I could look at this all day. I like it. I really like that. We're going to do something special here. So we just created one shell amphitheater, and we're going to make another one. But this one's going to be a bit different, and it's going to take a little bit more work. So what I want to do is we're going to get rid of this temporarily. We're not going to have the British flag, although I know that was a favorite of some. We're going to do something, but it's going to be a little different than that. So I picked up this other amphitheater asset that I think you're really going to like. So I have this amphitheater, so it's a big and a small one. So the small one is 8 tiles. The large one is 11. I don't know that we can place the large one because of how big it is, but we can certainly do the smaller one. That said, I want to try to incorporate both of them somewhere into this build. So we're going to keep it in the set. So the way that this works is really something else. So I had to play around with this for a long time to figure it out. So you get this, it needs a road or a path or something. So let's go ahead. Works with self-leveling paths. So this is one of the interesting things about this. But first, what you got to do is come up to it. Not that. Okay, so this is going to happen because of one of the mods I have. So I'm just going to take it down, take it to object height, and then we're going to smooth this out because I want to get this to be approximately the same height as the building at the highest level. And you can hear all the buildings leveling up around here. It's really neat. Okay, so now we've got this here. We'll even level it out right here, get it all smoothed out, and make sure we're at the right height in the front. Now, the way that we get this to work is we have a path going around it. So let's turn off our road guidelines for the time being. I'm going to use my curve. I'll go up 3 tiles. I'll need to have anarchy on. Let's go over 4. We'll go up 4. 4, no. 5 and 5, no. 6 and 6. 6 and 5, okay. So 4 over here and then 4 up. 6 and... Ooh, interesting. I want to get these to be even if at all possible. Okay, so I had to mess with it a little bit to make that work. Interesting. So I am noticing that we have our day-night cycle on because I crashed. So we're going to take that off. I'm just going to move this in a bit. Now the game plan here is going to be to actually lower this side to line up with the side of the amphitheater. See, that's approximately, you could make your way in. We're not having too many clipping issues occurring. And this is actually how they describe it in the mod set. This is how you're supposed to do it. Now what I will recommend is going and grabbing your object height from across the way so it mirrors it. Do the same thing over here. Lower it down, pull it forward. Okay, so lots of putzing around to make this work. Futzing around. Let's now go and upgrade these. So I think I want something better than just a dirt path. So I just wanted to make sure that I was using a self-leveling path when I was doing this. So let's go through. We'll get the vanilla paths. And I want the park path, but I want it to be propless so we can focus on our own lighting. Also, another reason why I want this, because I like to go crazy. Because one of the things about this is if it's not perfectly straight, you end up with these weird angle things that drive me absolutely mad. And I apparently like to torture myself. Oh, I think I got it. Oh, I think I got it. Oh, no, I didn't get it. And the reason I say that is it's too low right here. We got to raise it up just a bit. Okay, and this is going to be an example of letting good enough be good enough, because I could keep messing with this and eventually I'm just going to continue to break it repeatedly until I go crazy. I just need to let perfect not be the enemy. Stop making perfect the enemy of good, because good is fine in this case. Yeah, that's pretty slick. So I like this asset a lot. I think it looks really neat. There's more that we need to do, and we're going to get to that in just a second. Okay, so now we've got some work to do. So let's look at our heights, and you can see that things are looking wonky. You might be wondering how we could ever fix this. Well, we're going to slope the heck out of it. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to go in here, turn our strength down, get our brush size to be reasonable, and apparently go absolutely mad in the wrong way. Just brush this down. So one of the areas where you can run into issues with this particular asset is right here. You end up with these tearing artifacts. So I had this happen when I sandboxed this, and the best I could come up with was some landscaping to try to hide it. So that's probably what we're going to do. But first, we've got something else to work on, and that is our paths. So I want to have some neat path connections through here. Oh, that was the saddest thing ever. Oh, why'd you do that? It broke everything because we didn't have our crosses there. It turned it into 2 circles. You know what? These might actually work okay. Yeah. These are nice. So I understand that I just made this impossible to reproduce, but for some reason when I made this connection here, it decided that it would totally break my connection. But through breaking the connection, it fixed my madness that I was experiencing. And now I can even easily go through and kind of predictably fix this, which is awesome. Okay, that is really outstanding. I don't know. I guess I didn't expect that to happen. I know why it happened, but I certainly didn't expect it. Pleasant surprise. And when you get a win like that, you should just take it. The one thing that kind of stinks is let's take a look. Yeah, it didn't. I think that when it took away that node, it made it a little bit more. The slope a little less than ideal. So I might actually add those nodes back in so I can raise them up. Okay, I think that adding a couple nodes here and there really made a big difference in the way that this looks. You can see that now it just kind of fits into this hillside. Oh, it's back. It's back. So that's the trick. It needs to be just far enough out. And then all is well. there. Unfortunately, if I do that, I don't necessarily get this up as high as I would prefer it to be over here. Well, I think you take the wins that you can get. Okay. We're gonna leave it. We've got to leave it. We are in a good spot. I think this is a good spot. And now we're just gonna smooth this out, nice and smooth all the way around. Oh, that is pretty. So there's one more thing I want to do. I'm nervous to do it, but I want to make a connection straight through here as well. Well, that feels bad. That feels real bad. Yeah, I didn't mean to destroy this, but it happened. It's just one of those things, and we'll have to work through it. But it's okay. We are getting closer to where we want to be. Okay, I'm going to cut it off here because we aren't making things better anymore. We are just doing things. And I think that we're mostly even again. This is a very putsy asset to use, but I think the overall effect is a good one. Except for that. I don't like that at all. So I'm just making mistakes. Okay. That was a little painful, but everything good. No, never mind. Sometimes good things just take a little while, and I think that this is a very good thing. So I think this is going to be a really unique park for the city, and we can do some things to jazz it up. Kind of looks like a little person. That was not intentional, but I kind of like it, and we're going to go with it. I wonder, it looks like our name is gone though. We've lost. Okay, that was just a mod issue. So at this point, what I think we're going to want to do is focus on some public spaces to do things, congregate. Well, we kind of have this, and maybe we don't necessarily need that public space to congregate because we already have it. So the courthouse has that area. So maybe we'll just make this a place that you could go to a show. We'll have some food trucks in this area, and then maybe call it a day in this park and let it be. Okay, so we've basically added a place to get some grub before the show, some food trucks. I think we need a restroom, and I think I had the right asset for this. Okay, I kind of wanted to find a way to appropriately end this with the assets I have. It's a little bit hard. So this restroom, though, I really like it. I picked this up not for this area. I picked it up for the beach, but I think it fits in well here, so we're going to keep it. We can recycle this and use it in a couple different places. That is no problem. Now, I do think that we're going to want some sense of order in this place, and we are going to add a fence. We're going to make sure we don't have a fee to enter here. We should be able to level this park up. One thing I might do to get there is to have night tours. We'll celebrate, have even more fun, and make this the main park. And I think that that's going to really get this thing up to the next level. So I am going to turn off my road guidelines for this and all of my other snap twos. The main reason I just want to get this as close to everything as I can. There we go. Now that's a sense of order from a fencing standpoint, which makes this a place, a destination. But I think we need to do a little bit more and have some landscaping. Otherwise, this is kind of just a barren wasteland of hill. Maybe that's not how you look at it, but that's how I look at it. I need landscaping. So we are going to go through, and I want to form a formal edge around this. So now we have this, so when you enter here, it feels a little bit more like you are in a secluded place, which is exactly the vibe I'm going for. And then in here, I want to give places to hang out and to sit. Maybe we will throw some more park life amenities in here. So this is a city park technically, so why not add some more things? We don't have any more, maybe we want to think about gates a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna throw in the invisible side gate. The idea being that I could get the park to level up a little bit then, and maybe that's part of the issues that I'm having here. So I think we need to do the exact same thing over here. And to balance things out, I might actually move the main gate right here. So I'm gonna draw these little stubs to keep my angles. Okay, so now we're back to putting in paths, at least here. And what I'm going to do is make this connection, and then I'm going to use Electric's road tools to remove that node, and hopefully that will make it... Oh, it's already gone. Interesting. Alright, so that fixes everything there. We need to put in our side gates here, so again, look for the invisible. Okay, so I'm just centering those, and now I can go ahead, search for my propolis gate, or path rather, make the connection, move my gate just a bit, get it to be perfect, do the exact same thing over here. Now I just use those guides to make all my connections, and we're in a good spot now, I think. Again, I mentioned using Electric's road tools to eliminate some of these nodes. The reason I wanted to do that is I want to come through here and adjust this just a little bit. Now if I had that extra node, it's going to get all messed up, but because I don't have that extra node, it works just fine. Now we just need to get all of our fences back in place. So that's what we'll do right now. Oh yeah, I think that's what we want. The main reason that we care about that is now we're going to have all of the people who visit the park counted. So for leveling up, it's absolutely critical that we have that correct. That looks really steep. I think we're going to slope that. And I mean, it's not going to matter. It's not going to work. So I thought it might be interesting to see what I could do with Node Controller to try to improve this, and there's not much. So I think I just need to give up on that. It just keeps coming back. I just want to, but I won't. So back to landscaping, because that's where we should be living right now. I want a couple of really large trees to act as kind of those centerpieces within the park. I think we're going to taper off and kind of cluster in these couple of areas. And then from here, we're going to add just a little bit more to ring this to keep the sound in. Because the last thing you want would be the sound spilling out into the neighborhoods here. And I think that we're going to line these with some of these bushes. Actually, we won't. We want people to feel like they can come out here and throw a frisbee. But I do want really thick foliage around here to make this feel a bit secluded. So now if you're in here, it feels like you're definitely somewhere out in the sticks. Kind of. It does feel manicured though. And then you come over here to your concert space, and it definitely feels like you are somewhere completely separate from everyone else. And I think that's nice. I think that's very nice. And you have to come up into this space. You can still tell it's there. It's definitely still there. But it's definitely removed. So I like this. I think this is kind of what I was going for. And it's a good improvement in my mind. The one thing I might do, no, I'm not going to do it. I need to calm down and let good enough be good enough. Once I do it, no, I can't. I gotta stop myself. So I wonder how this looks at night. Always a curiosity of mine, because we took all of that path lighting off, so we need to add some lights. Oh, that's really pretty. This asset is absolutely gorgeous at night. So I think we're going to try to use the minimal amount of lighting that we could to still keep this path lit. I want the lighting here to feel elegant. You see there's that one dark spot on the path that would never fly. So we're going to add one more there, even though I don't love it. We will keep the food trucks well lit. Obviously that would be a core part of their business, so without that, probably wouldn't be able to operate. That is awesome. And you can see the little guy. the little picture of the person. Head, arms, legs, or it's an alien, and that's the antenna. One of the two. I like it. Do you think I'm going to add one more lamp over here too? As I see it at night, it just kind of sticks out. And here, this is just outstanding. So that is our courthouse district. I think that it is much more comprehensive and cohesive and makes a lot more sense at this point. One thing I do want to do is give one more thought to the day. I just want to make sure that all of our zoning is in place. It is. We're in a good spot there. We could probably use a little bit more commercial zoning there at some point, or at least I would think that someone would try to shoehorn it in. It would seem to be a good place in this area to have some sort of commercial activity. That said, it's not too far from this little district over here, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. I'm still getting used to the realistic population rebalance. It certainly changes things, and you don't have the opportunity to just kind of slam in a whole bunch of commercial like you normally have to. I'm seeing one thing that I want to take care of before we go. I'm seeing a whole bunch of crime. We actually have a 9% crime rate. And the last thing you want is crimes occurring right outside of your courthouse. So what I think we're going to do is figure out a place where we could have a police station. I don't want to get rid of any of these beautiful buildings that we just put up. I think we could sneak one in back here. Even have trees cut through it. All right, so we'll need to take those down a bit. Got our beautiful Clearwater PD vehicles going out. Look at that. Really love these vehicles. So that's good. Hopefully that will help with the crime. I'm guessing, fire coverage is also poor. So we're going to want to do something with that as well. I love this old fire station. It almost looks like an old city hall. I think that we're going to sneak that right in here. Yeah, that is super cool to look at. Love that. So this would fit well on a corner, but it's completely fine right here. And that should resolve some of our coverage issues. Let's look at the rest of our services. Yeah, we don't have enough elementary schools. And we want to do a little better than just slap these things in. So that might be something that we need to take care of in our next episode, along with our beach. Kind of the same spot with the high school. University, we can do that now, but we don't have it. Yeah, there's lots of stuff that we could do. Lots of things that this community needs. But I think that we've left it in a pretty decent spot. I think that the city is growing in a good direction. And I'm pleased with the way that our new areas look. So I think we're going to leave it here. I want to thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please consider hitting that like button. If you aren't subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. And if you want to be notified when I release new videos, hit that notification icon. I'll give a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. They help me make this content by enabling me to upgrade my equipment and continually to help me improve. And I appreciate them for that, and I appreciate you for watching. Your likes, subscribes, and shares help me grow the channel. I'm going to leave you with a brief city tour like I always do. I'll see you in one more episode of Ashland in the next one. Bye-bye.